Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Everyone else who may be watching of all fan bases, welcome in to Red, White, and Bills. This is the pregame show for the first round of the playoffs against the division rival New England Patriots, round 3. And we're split right now, but after this video, you're going to think I'm pretty confident in us taking the first round of the playoffs away from them. But you can find us on LDG Sports and Entertainment on Spotify if you want to listen to it in pod form. Of course, obviously, you got us on YouTube. And this is a huge game. Obviously, it's playoffs. And it's even more huge because it's against our most hated division rival. And this will be the third time we're seeing them this year. And I find it very interesting because it's always hard to play someone 3 times a year and continue to have success. And we're going against one of the best coaching staffs in the league. Of course, they got Bill Belichick, and Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator. But for us, I think we got to throw the first game out. Obviously, a lot of us feel that was an outlier for the season, 50-mile-an-hour winds. And, one big play for them made it a 14-10 game, and then a few coaching mistakes. And obviously, it's hard to throw the ball in 50-mile-an-hour winds, and it's hard to catch the ball. And our run game failed us that game. But in the second game, we really found out who the better team was. Everything was put together. We were firing on all cylinders, and in a controlled setting, we really, laid it down on them, and it was hard for them to catch up. But for our keys of the game, the O-line has to keep ascending up because the last few weeks, they've been everything we've been hoping they would be, and it was at the very right time because now we're in the second part of the season, and it's the playoffs, which is the most important part, and they've looked really solid. Ryan Bates went down last game, and it was kind of nerve-wracking, and everything looks good now, though. So we should be having him without any issues. Hopefully it's not any lingering pain, but he's good to go. Hasn't popped up on an injury report, so that's a very good sign. So O-line, keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys took a lot of crap from us this year, and not that it wasn't warranted, but you guys have been playing absolutely stellar football. We got to limit the big plays. We've seen this reoccurring theme game after game, especially with power running teams. Always 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 big plays really hurt our team. That first New England game, we saw it. And even somewhat in the second game, we saw a few explosive plays from Damian Harris that really gashed us and allowed them to come back and to keep the game closer than it should have been. But definitely limit the big plays. Weather's going to be another factor. However, obviously because it's going to be very cold and the ball's going to be harder to catch. But they got to just put that out the window, not worry about the weather, and just play football. We got to utilize McKenzie more. And, I've been saying this for a long time, not just because of that Patriots game, but it was a career game for him against the Patriots. So definitely got to start throwing more McKenzie stuff at him because they're going to be looking for it. And maybe more jet sweeps. Maybe you don't need to throw too much. This game, maybe if we could solidify the run game from the start, we can jump ahead. Maybe throw a few screen passes to McKenzie, some end arounds, jet sweeps, get him moving. And then they're going to be so concerned about McKenzie because he lit him up last time. It's going to free up openings for everyone else. Definitely got to feed Motor. Last game, he was 12 for 39 with a touchdown and 5 receptions for 39 yards against the Patriots. And obviously that's not his best game, but he was running hard that game. He had a nice rushing touchdown where he stood a linebacker up in the end zone and ran him over. So definitely got to give him the ball, whether it's passing and screen passes or short routes or running the ball, because between the running game, him and Allen and maybe McKenzie, that's going to be a big part of this game, especially because, with the conditions being what they may, you might not be able to do what you typically plan on doing. Stephon Diggs is just primed for a big day. J.C. Jackson always says, I like being on an island. I want another crack at Diggs. He's had a few cracks at Diggs now, and, it's to be desired, putting it nicely. But Diggs is just he's a playmaker, and he's an alpha dog, and situations like this in the playoffs is why, the Minneapolis Miracle happened. Obviously it was a miracle type play, per se, but he's just that big time guy. And you want big time guys like Diggs on your team when it comes to playoff games. And I just got this good feeling about Diggs this game. Milano, Edmonds, and possibly AJ Klein, however they decide to run the defense, they need to have a big game because part of how big plays happen is because the linebackers need to get involved more. And sometimes if they over pursue or they get blocked down or blocked out, that's how the big plays happen. So they need to shed their blocks quickly, wrap up, and tackle hard because no more the arm tackling won't work, especially against Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson and maybe even Bolden also. But we can't be arm tackling, and the juice starts with these linebackers. Obviously they're not the biggest dudes on the team, but the linebackers are supposed to be, the guys in control, the guys that hit, the guys that are ruthless. So I want to see nothing but absolute fire from these three. We got to limit penalties that kill us, and we've seen it happen multiple times all season long, especially an eligible man downfield in the red zone when we get touchdown passes to Dawson Knox. I've seen about 3 of those this year that got called back. And, especially in big time playoff games, every yard counts. So we can't be that game that Spencer Brown had against the Panthers, a 5 penalty game for one player. We can't have anything like that. I don't like to bring that up. Sorry, Spence, but it was just on my mind. So can't be killing ourselves with penalties. It's got to play clean football. We got to get ahead and stay ahead. We saw what happened when you got ahead in the Patriots because Mac Jones is not the guy. Even Bill Belichick doesn't rely on Mac Jones. And just get ahead by 2 scores, and it will become very hard for them to come back because they still have to rely on the run game. But that's when limiting the big plays comes in handy, because if you let up big plays, then it's easier for them to catch up. But you hold them, then you can start growing your lead more, and then they might have to pass the ball. And Mac Jones just, not knocking the kid. Obviously, he's in the NFL, so he's a good player. But as of right now, he's just not the guy, and he hasn't been trusted by Bill Belichick. He says he's, consistent and does what he's asked to do, and that's very true. But this is big time now. This isn't playing at Alabama in the championship game. This isn't a normal regular season game. This is a big time playoff game in Buffalo. So it's not going to be the easiest setting to play in. So when you have to rely on a rookie quarterback who's not really that great at throwing the ball to go into Buffalo in weather conditions and how rowdy it's going to be and loud and the playoff atmosphere, and it's just going to be tough for him. Moving on to the Patriots side, Isaiah Wynn, their left tackle, is possibly out. He was limited DMP this week, and we'll definitely be able to exploit that. This D-line has been humming the last few weeks. 9 sacks last week against the Jets. I know they were a little bit banged up on the O-line, but still 9 sacks is just incredible. Zach Wilson's a mobile quarterback who's very quick-footed, athletic kid. So just the fact that we were able to get to him 9 times, season high for us, was just absolutely incredible to see. We got to make Mac beat us as the next key. Last game, he was 14 for 32, 145, 2 interceptions with a 31 rating. We saw what happened when he had to throw the ball. The first game, he only had 3 passes. Obviously, everybody still probably talks about it and thinks of it. But the second game, when he had to throw a little bit more, it did not look good. And obviously, we have the number 1 defense, so it's hard to look good against us, especially the secondary. But it was a tough game for him. Obviously, the positive for the Patriots side for them is it's a learning experience for him because he's going to be playing against the secondary for years. But make him beat us, because we all saw what happened, and he's going to be thinking about that in the back of his mind. And our secondary is ready; they're ready for the task. Player to key on: Damian Harris, 202 rushing attempts, 929 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Good for 4.6 yards per carry. He has also 22 explosive runs of 10 plus yards. And that's what I'm talking about. Those are the big plays we got to limit. We can't just keep getting gashed. And then after we score on offense, we got to hold them. We can't just score and then give up a touchdown, because then you can't really separate yourself from the other team. Ramondre Stevenson, obviously the other running back, 133 for 606 and 5 touchdowns. Also good for 4.6 yards a carry and 20 explosive plays of 10 run plays of 10 plus yards. So they got 2 really good backs. Patriots are always usually a great running team. They scheme very well. They got very good blockers, very good O-line. So got to limit those plays for sure. Obviously, Matt Judon, He got pretty held in check last time with Dawkins, but people like to say, "Oh, he had COVID, so that's why this happened." So this will be a time we'll see. We'll see if that's really what happened. If he was just COVID or Doc just got the best of him. 14 sacks, 63 pressures. He's a guy you really have to key on because he can wreak havoc, force a fumble, get a strip sack, anything. He can definitely wreck a game. Kyle Van Noy, now his tackles haven't popped off this season, but he's very good in coverage. 84.2 coverage grade according to PFF. An interception, 2 forced fumbles, 44 tackles. But I mean, most of us remember that play. Josh Allen stiffed armed his chest and plowed him into the ground, which was very awesome and everything. Don't get me wrong, but he's still a fantastic player. He still can change a game, and we got to try to exploit that part of the field. Quick passes, and as far as running the ball, he's a good guy when it comes to stopping the run. And I know I was busting him on J.C. Jackson, but obviously he's a great player. 8 interceptions, a forced fumble, 45 tackles. Definitely the best secondary person on their team, secondary player on their team. And he's going against our alpha dog. And our alpha dog's going to win. But J.C. Jackson's definitely a guy you got to be careful of because he's a ball hawk and he's very good at what he does. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's a great player. He's got the attitude that you would want on your team. And when you pair alpha and alpha up, it's always good for a good matchup. And they obviously both want each other. And obviously I think Diggs is going to get the better of him because he has been. But definitely a matchup to watch out for. But guys, this is awesome. Could you ask for a better matchup for the first round? We lost the first game and we're like, how the heck did we lose that game? We got revenge in the second game. Now first round of the playoffs in Buffalo playing the New England Patriots. I think this is poetic. It's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be pretty close. Kind of like near the end, I think we'll break away, but it's going to feel like a tough game. And, as far as Bills Mafia goes, my heart palpitation is going to go crazy. My blood pressure is going to skyrocket. I'm sure most of you had the same feeling. So I think be in store for that, but near the end, it'll obviously cool down because we're going to pull away. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all the love and support. We're going to be doing a live stream on Tony's Instagram, the Bills Bouncer, tomorrow. Time is to be determined. I'll let you guys know on Twitter and Instagram. But definitely come support his Instagram and check that out. It's going to be a good show. Also Saturday, also to be determined, but it's going to be before the first game. We're back with Nickel City Mafia. We're going to do the Bills pregame show for that. We'll show them love and support and subscribe to their channel. And if you love my content and enjoy it, subscribe to my channel. And if you guys have any idea of anything you want me to talk about or cover as far as football goes or Bills, DM me, let me know. Don't forget about the shirts. I'm filling out an order right now, so I'll give it a couple more days. And if you guys want a shirt, let me know. But until then, let's go Buffalo.